Turns out, this 1000lb Sisters family's weight loss journey is more remarkable than expected. See photos. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For 1000 Pound Sister latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. When the world first met Amy and Tammy Slaton from the hit reality show 1000lb Sisters, it was clear that their lives were in a dangerous place. Both sisters struggled with severe obesity, emotional trauma, addiction, and health complications far beyond what most people could imagine. Their journey began as a raw, unfiltered look into the struggles of morbid obesity, but over time, it became something much more powerful, a story of resilience, transformation, and hope. What many viewers didn't expect was just how remarkable their weight loss journeys would become, not only for the sisters themselves, but also for their family members who joined them along the way. From life-threatening conditions to inspiring before and after transformations, the Slaton family's path has been nothing short of extraordinary. Amy and Tammy Slaton grew up in a chaotic household, marked by poverty, neglect, and substance abuse. As they got older, both sisters turned to food as a coping mechanism for the pain they had endured throughout their lives. Overeating led to extreme weight gain, which in turn brought on a host of medical problems: diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, mobility issues, and more. By the time they were in their 30s, each sister weighed well over 500 pounds. The turning point came when TLC launched My 600lb Life, a documentary series that followed individuals struggling with extreme obesity as they underwent bariatric surgery and embarked on long-term weight loss journeys. Although neither Amy nor Tammy was originally part of that show, their appearance on a spin-off series, 1000lb Sisters, gave the public an inside look at their daily battles with food, mental health, and self-worth. At the start of the series, both sisters were barely able to walk without assistance. They relied on motorized scooters and wheelchairs to move around, and their health was deteriorating rapidly. Emotional eating was deeply ingrained in their routines, and breaking free from that cycle seemed almost impossible. But despite the odds stacked against them, both women eventually made the decision to change their lives, and their choices sparked a ripple effect through their entire family. Amy Slaton was the first to undergo gastric sleeve surgery. It was a major step, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Surgery alone wasn't enough. She had to completely overhaul her lifestyle, including her diet, exercise habits, and mindset. At first, progress was slow and filled with setbacks. There were moments of relapse, where old habits crept back in and the temptation of comfort food proved too strong. But with the help of therapists, nutritionists, and support from her sister and children, Amy slowly began shedding weight. Tammy, initially reluctant, watched her sister's transformation unfold and found inspiration in it. Eventually, she too decided to take control of her health. Her journey was even more difficult, both physically and emotionally. But she pushed forward one day at a time. As the sisters lost weight, their confidence grew. They were able to do things they hadn't done in years, walking without assistance, playing with their kids, shopping for clothes that fit, and even pursuing new hobbies. The photos documenting their progress told a powerful story of perseverance. In one image, Amy is seen sitting on a couch, barely able to lift her arms. In another, she's standing proudly in a swimsuit, smiling at the camera, looking like a completely different person. But the most surprising part of their journey wasn't just their own transformation. It was the impact it had on the rest of their family. While Amy and Tammy were the stars of 1000lb Sisters, their immediate family members also struggled with weight and unhealthy lifestyles. Watching the sisters transform inspired others to make changes of their own. Parents, siblings, cousins, and even extended relatives began adopting healthier habits, whether through diet, exercise, or professional intervention. One of the most notable examples was Michael Halter, Amy's then boyfriend and later husband. He had also struggled with obesity and initially mirrored some of Amy's unhealthy behaviors. However, watching her dedication motivated him to seek his own gastric bypass surgery. His journey paralleled hers, and together, they supported each other through the ups and downs of recovery and lifestyle changes. Even the children of the Slayton sisters began showing interest in healthier living, with their mothers modeling new habits like preparing nutritious meals, avoiding processed foods, and engaging in physical activity. The next generation started learning valuable lessons about health and self-care at a young age. This family-wide shift demonstrated the contagious nature of positive change. When one person takes the first step toward better health, it often inspires those around them to follow suit. What started as two sisters trying to save their own lives ended up sparking a movement within their entire family tree. Of course, weight loss isn't just a physical challenge, it's an emotional one too. For Amy and Tammy, food had always been a source of comfort, a way to numb pain and avoid dealing with deeper issues. Breaking that connection required more than just willpower. It demanded deep introspection, therapy, and a willingness to confront painful memories. Throughout the show, viewers saw the sisters struggle with anxiety, depression, and identity crises. Losing weight changed how they looked, but it also forced them to redefine who they were outside of their struggles. Some days were harder than others. There were breakdowns, relapses, and moments of doubt. But there were also breakthroughs. Times when they realized they were stronger than they thought, capable of more than they'd ever imagined. Therapy played a crucial role in their healing process. Working with licensed professionals helped them unpack childhood trauma, address addictive tendencies, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Support groups and peer networks also provided a sense of community, reminding them that they weren't alone in their fight. In addition to psychological challenges, the physical side effects of rapid weight loss presented their own hurdles. Loose skin, fatigue, muscle loss, and hormonal imbalances were common. Many people don't realize how taxing it is on the body to lose hundreds of pounds in a short period of time. But again, with medical supervision and consistent effort, the sisters adapted and continued moving forward. As with any reality TV show, 1000 lb Sisters drew both praise and criticism. Some viewers celebrated the show for shining a light on the realities of extreme obesity and the difficulties of long-term weight loss. Others criticized it for being exploitative or voyeuristic, arguing that it capitalized on people's suffering rather than offering genuine solutions. There were also concerns about how the sisters were portrayed during the early seasons. Some critics felt that the show focused too heavily on their failures and not enough on their successes. However, as the series progressed, the tone shifted. Viewers began seeing more of the sisters' determination, resilience, and growth, both individually and as a family. Despite the controversy, the show undeniably opened up conversations about obesity, mental health, and the importance of holistic treatment. It humanized people who are often stigmatized and misunderstood, giving them a platform to share their stories. For many fans, Amy and Tammy became symbols of hope. People reached out to say that watching the sisters' journey inspired them to seek help for their own weight struggles. Others shared how the show encouraged them to talk openly about their mental health and begin therapy. Today, several years into their journeys, Amy and Tammy continue to work on maintaining their health and supporting each other. While they've achieved incredible results, they're quick to acknowledge that this is a lifelong process. There are still challenges, temptations, and setbacks, but now they have the tools and knowledge to overcome them. Their families have also benefited from the changes. Healthier habits are becoming more normalized in their households, and future generations may be spared from the same struggles that plagued their parents and grandparents. In terms of personal goals, both sisters have expressed interest in helping others. Whether through advocacy, motivational speaking, or mentoring, they want to use their experiences to make a difference in the lives of people facing similar battles. Social media has also played a significant role in their ongoing journey. Through platforms like Instagram and YouTube, they share updates, tips, and encouragement with fans who follow their progress. These channels allow them to connect directly with supporters and offer real-time insight into their lives beyond what's shown on television. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from the Slayton sisters' journey is that weight loss is never just about losing weight. It's about healing, rebuilding, and reclaiming your life. It's about addressing the root causes of unhealthy behaviors and finding sustainable ways to live better. Their story reminds us that everyone's path is different. There's no one-size-fits-all solution to overcoming obesity. What works for one person might not work for another. But what matters most is taking that first step, no matter how small. Another important lesson is the power of support. Whether it comes from family, friends, professionals, or even strangers cheering you on, having a network of people who believe in you can make all the difference. Lastly, the Slayton family's journey proves that transformation is possible, even when the odds seem insurmountable. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's rarely easy. But with persistence, patience, and compassion, lasting change is within reach. The Slayton family's weight loss journey has proven to be far more remarkable than anyone could have predicted. What began as a reality show about two sisters struggling with extreme obesity evolved into a powerful narrative about resilience, healing, and the strength of familial bonds. Through tears, triumphs, setbacks, and milestones, Amy, Tammy, and their loved ones have shown the world that it's never too late to change. Their before and after photos speak volumes, but their story tells an even greater truth. The transformation begins from within, and sometimes the hardest part is simply believing you deserve better. As they continue forward, the legacy of their journey will extend far beyond themselves. It will serve as a beacon of hope for others who feel trapped by their circumstances, proving that with the right mindset, support, and determination, anything is possible. Even when the road ahead seems impossible. 1000 LB Sisters. Did Tammy Slayton finally learn to drive? She made a shocking car confession. For fans of TLC's 1000 LB Sisters, the journey of Tammy and Amy Slayton has been nothing short of emotional, inspiring, and at times heartbreaking. The show, which follows the sisters as they battle obesity, undergo medical interventions, and work toward reclaiming their lives, has become a beacon for those struggling with weight-related health issues. While both women have faced immense challenges, it's Tammy who has recently captured headlines. And not just for her ongoing weight loss journey. In a surprising twist, Tammy revealed a shocking car confession that left many wondering, did she finally learn to drive? Tammy and Amy Slayton first entered the public eye in 2018 when they were featured on My 600 LB Life. At the time, both women were severely obese, Tammy weighing around 700 pounds, and Amy even heavier at over 1,000 pounds. Their appearances on that show were raw and unfiltered, showcasing the physical and emotional toll that obesity had taken on their lives. They struggled with mobility, relationships, and basic daily tasks, often relying on each other and their families for support after completing their treatment on My 600 LB Life. The sisters transitioned into their own spin-off series, 1000 LB Sisters, which debuted in 2020. The show followed their continued weight loss journeys, but also delved into personal struggles such as mental health, addiction, and family dynamics. Throughout the series, viewers saw moments of triumph and setbacks alike, making the show both compelling and deeply human. One of the consistent themes in Tammy's story was her dependence on others, particularly her mother and sister, for transportation. Because of her size and health complications, driving was simply out of the question. She relied heavily on caregivers or loved ones to take her to appointments, grocery stores, and other errands. This lack of independence was a recurring source of frustration for Tammy, who often expressed a desire to regain control over her life. As the seasons progressed, Tammy began showing signs of progress. Her weight loss was slow but steady, and she became more active in everyday tasks. There were moments where she pushed herself beyond what many thought possible, walking short distances without assistance, cooking simple meals, and engaging more fully in conversations about her future. However, one area that remained largely untouched was her ability, or inability, to drive. Driving is often seen as a symbol of freedom, especially for individuals who have spent years feeling physically restricted. For Tammy, learning to drive would mean more than just getting behind the wheel. It would represent a major step toward autonomy and self-reliance. It would allow her to go places on her own terms, make decisions without having to depend on someone else's schedule, and perhaps most importantly, rebuild her sense of identity outside of being someone who needed constant care. Yet, despite her growing confidence, there were no real indications that Tammy had taken any steps toward obtaining a driver's license. Her physical limitations, including reduced mobility and lingering health concerns, made it seem unlikely. Many assumed that driving would remain a dream rather than a reality for her, at least until recent events suggested otherwise. In a recent episode of 1000 LB Sisters, Tammy dropped a bombshell during a conversation with her then-boyfriend, Adam Munhall. Sitting in his vehicle after returning from a routine outing, Tammy turned to him and said something that caught both Adam and viewers off guard. "You know, I actually took my driver's test once, back when I was younger." This revelation stunned longtime followers of the show who had never heard Tammy mention this before. She went on to explain that she had attempted to get her license years ago, but failed due to anxiety and physical discomfort while driving. "I couldn't handle the pressure," she admitted. "And honestly, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do it again." The confession opened up a new layer to Tammy's character. One that many hadn't considered. Here was a woman who had spent years battling not only her weight, but also the psychological effects of trauma, low self-esteem, and social isolation. The idea that she had once tried to take control of her life in such a tangible way, only to give up due to fear, resonated deeply with fans. But what came next truly shocked everyone. "I've been thinking about trying again," Tammy said quietly. "Not now, obviously, but maybe someday, when I'm ready." Her words hung in the air like a promise, not just to herself, but to her audience. It was a moment of vulnerability, hope, and quiet determination. While Tammy acknowledged that she wasn't ready to pursue a driver's license immediately, her admission marked a turning point in her personal growth. For years, she had spoken about wanting to live a more independent life, but this was the first time she explicitly linked that goal to a concrete action. Learning to drive. Of course, the road ahead isn't easy. Even if Tammy continues to lose weight and improve her health, there are still significant hurdles to overcome. Driving requires not just physical capability, but also mental stamina, coordination, and the ability to react quickly in stressful situations. For someone who has struggled with anxiety and panic attacks in the past, the idea of navigating traffic can be daunting. Moreover, practical considerations come into play. Standard vehicles may not accommodate her current size, and modifications could be necessary. There's also the matter of relearning traffic rules, practicing in a safe environment, and possibly working with an instructor experienced in helping individuals with disabilities or special needs. Still, the mere fact that Tammy is considering this possibility shows how far she has come. It suggests that she is beginning to see herself not just as a patient or someone in recovery, but as a capable adult with agency over her own life. Tammy's potential decision to learn to drive is significant not just for her personal development, but for the broader narrative around disability, independence, and body positivity. Too often, people who struggle with severe obesity are painted as helpless or dependent, with little room for them to be viewed as autonomous beings. By expressing a desire to regain control through something as fundamental as driving, Tammy challenges those stereotypes. Additionally, her openness about past failures and fears serves as a powerful reminder that setbacks don't define us, they shape us. Many people watching 1000 LB Sisters have their own stories of giving up on goals because of shame, fear, or societal judgment. Tammy's willingness to revisit a part of her past that once brought her pain is incredibly relatable and inspiring. There's also a larger cultural conversation here about accessibility and inclusion. Shouldn't individuals with disabilities, whether physical, mental, or both, have the opportunity to achieve milestones like driving? And shouldn't society do more to support them in these endeavors rather than dismiss them as incapable? Tammy's journey reminds us that every person deserves dignity, respect, and the chance to grow, even if that growth comes slowly and even if it looks different from what we expect. Unsurprisingly, Tammy's car confession sparked a wave of reactions across social media and fan forums. Many viewers praised her honesty and courage, calling it one of the most meaningful moments in the show's history. Comments flooded in from people who saw reflections of themselves in her story, those who had given up on dreams because of health issues, body image concerns, or emotional trauma. Some fans speculated that Tammy might begin driving lessons in a future season, while others cautioned that she should proceed carefully and prioritize her health above all else. Mental health advocates chimed in as well, noting the importance of addressing anxiety before taking on such a big responsibility. Perhaps the most touching responses came from individuals who shared their own stories of overcoming obstacles related to mobility and independence. One fan wrote, "Thank you for being brave enough to talk about this. I used to feel like I couldn't do anything because of my weight either. You're reminding me that it's never too late." Another ad,